Today, I am taking my own birthday photos. Well, technically, I've already taken them, but after posting them on social media, quite a few people were asking me, how did I do it? So today I'm taking you behind the scenes and showing you my step-by-step process on how I captured my own birthday photos in the comfort of my own home. And this is not to toot my own horn, but it's really to show you that you can do it too, no matter what camera you have. So let's get into it. The vision. First thing I needed before I started my photo shoot was a vision, a vibe, because you gotta have a plan set out for your photos. Otherwise, a disaster. Birthday photo shoot ideas. Boom, you get an endless supply of ideas. Now, I can't quite remember where I found my inspiration, but when I found it, boom. That is my vision for this shoot. Okay, so now that we're all good and inspired, it's time to move on to the setup. Now, because I'm taking these photos myself, I wanted to keep my setup as simple as possible because I know any minor inconvenience during this process would tick me over the edge. It would take me over the edge and I would just call it all off. Okay, so we're keeping it simple. For the location, we're doing it right here in my living room. It's pretty spacious, so I have enough room to set up my lights, my camera, backdrop, everything. For the backdrop, I found this green satin material in my garage. I've had it for years, but I originally purchased it from a local fabric store here in LA. Now, as far as setting up the backdrop, I pretty much just kind of taped this onto these two light stands that I purchased from Amazon. Now, for my equipment, I use the Sony ZV-E10. Yes, if you have the Sony ZV-E10, you can get some really quality photos and video out of it. Don't sleep on her. Dust the cobwebs off of her. Put her back in rotation. She's ready, coach. She's ready. Now, as far as lenses, I used one lens for the entire shoot. It was this Viltrox 56mm 1.7 f-stop lens. This lens is very, very tight, especially on the Sony ZV-E10, so you need to have a lot of space to use it. If you're working in a smaller space, I'd recommend looking into the Sigma 30mm lens or the Sigma 16mm lens. Now, for the tripod, I use this one from K&F Concept. I love this tripod, super versatile, gets super tall, can even reverse it to shoot upside down or really low. 360 rotation right here. You can take off two of the legs and it's a monopod and it's under $100. And now for the main event, the lighting. I used a 2-light setup for my photo shoot. My main light was this Coldboard 330W bicolor light. It's a little pricey, but it's well worth your coins. And then for my second light, I used this Godox VL150. And next I have this Glow Easy umbrella, which helps to soften and diffuse the light. Otherwise it's gonna be really, really harsh. And then I also set up a reflector on the left side to kind of bounce back some of that light into the left side of my face to soften those shadows a bit. Completely optional, completely optional. Lastly, I connected the camera to my iPad to help me see what I'm shooting and also to shoot remotely using this app called Shutter. But I do believe there's a free Sony app that you can use. It don't be working all the time for me. So now when it comes to light placement, I place my main light, so that Coldboard 330W, I place that slightly off to the right of me, and that is my main source of light. The second light, the VL150, that one I placed behind me to kind of illuminate my hair a little bit, and it also helps separate me a little bit from the background. And now that we're all done setting up, it is time for the photo shoot. I'm not gonna lie, posing is not my strong suit. Like, I actually hate it. Half the time I was winging it, checking the shots and adjusting as I went. But the key to posing in your photo shoot is small movements, shifting your angle slightly, fixing your posture, and most importantly, not overthinking it. I know, easier said than done. But if this is an area that you're struggling in, I encourage you to sit down in front of a mirror and just practice different poses, different micro expressions with slight variations, and find your go-to poses and looks. 2 or 3 go-to ones that you know gonna make you look fire, okay? And so when it's time to sit in front of that camera, you just whip them out, and just make slight, subtle variations to your poses. Now, the last step of my solo photo shoot was editing. Let's go ahead and hop into my Lightroom so I can show you guys the edits that I made and my kind of thought process behind it. All right, so here I am in Lightroom and I have already selected my top images. They're all down here at the bottom. I'm going to work on this image right here because it's the one where I look the least crazy. So this is the straight out of the camera shot, no edits on here, just bare bones, okay? You can see a few imperfections. Here's my iPad back here. You can see I didn't do a good job of hiding that. The rubber band still on the flowers. The girl was just trying to get through this shoot, okay? Really quickly, I'm gonna show you the end results so you can kind of see what we're working our way toward. Before, after. Let's see if I can recreate this right here. So I'm gonna do is gonna make a copy of this, create virtual copy. Boom, there she is. I'm gonna reset this copy. All right. First thing I did was I warmed it up. I'm trying to get to that rich kind of sultry shade of green. Okay, so I'm gonna go here to the temperature and I'm gonna warm that up. And then I brought the tint down a little bit to -2. Next, I'm gonna bring the exposure up just a little bit, not too much. Bring those highlights down to about -30. In here, I feel like the shadows are a bit too dark. And so I'm gonna bring up the shadows so I can at least see the pattern of my hair. I try not to bring the shadows up too much because then it starts to look a little bit like fake and weird and crunchy. Next, the whites, the blacks, the text, I left all this stuff alone. For saturation, I like to bring this down, -7, okay. And right here, the hue, saturation, and luminance, the color mixer, this is where, you know, you can really kind of play around with these colors in Lightroom, okay? So we can start with the hue, and I'm gonna play around with the orange, bring that up a little bit. Green, I'm still not satisfied with the green, so I'm gonna bring that down just a little bit, bringing that hue like closer to like a yellowish green as opposed to like a bluish green. So now we're gonna move over to saturation. Brought the orange up, the yellow we're gonna bring down a little bit. The green I'm also gonna bring down, -43. And I know it's looking a little, you know, dry. We're gonna bring these colors together, trust me, okay? All right, last thing in here, I went over to luminance and just brought the orange color down a little bit, just to deepen the color of my skin a little bit. Color grading. This is the area where you can really bring a lot of life to your photo. So I typically only play around with the shadows. And for this picture, I kind of brought in like a bit more yellow. Again, I'm still after that, you know, that sultry green color. Boom. All right, so now we're gonna move down to grain. One thing to know about me is that I'm gonna always add some grain. I'm gonna always add some grain to my photo, okay? It's really a matter of personal preference. You can go all the way to 100 if you really, really, really want some grain. I personally feel that's a bit much. I typically go somewhere in the middle, like 43, 50, just subtle that you can barely notice it, but you know it's there. And then lastly, we're gonna go down to calibration. Here's another area you can kind of play with the colors. For that, I really only changed the red color. So change the hue of this red to -23. And as you can see, that literally just kind of like changed the hue of my hand because it was looking a little yellowish. And then we're gonna bring the saturation down a little bit because it's a little too red, all right? So this is the final step for me. Over here in the top right corner, this circle is for masking, and that's how I'm going to change the color of the background without necessarily affecting me, the subject in the photo, right? So select that, and here you have the option to select the subject, the sky, if there's a sky, or the background. So I'm going to go ahead and select the background, and if I wanted to, I can just go in here and delete like areas that should not be included, like my hair, my hands. So now I'm gonna go in and bring down the exposure of the background because it's a little bit too bright. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. This looks good to me. Flowers, not overexposed. They look beautiful. My hair, you can see the kind of like curls, waves that I did up in there. All right, I guarantee you we are almost done. Like this is looking chef's kiss, okay? So another thing I'm gonna tweak about the background is the temperature. It's still a little bit cooler than I would like. So I'm gonna go down here to temperature and just, warm it up a little bit. Like I kind of wanted to match the tone of the flowers, right? So let's warm that up. That's a beautiful green. That's a beautiful shade of green. And that was that. That was that on that photo, y'all. Okay, so after all the blood, sweat, and tears, trial and error, these were my final images that got posted to social media. I am so happy with the way that they turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed this behind the scenes look at how I took my own birthday photos. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, stay safe and sane. Toodles.